Hi there, and welcome to our presentation for today. I am Michaeline Cruz, a BSIBN second year student at Bulacan Agricultural State College, and today I will be discussing about tackling environmental challenges in the Philippines, the crucial role of agricultural and biosystems engineers. We will explore the major environmental issues facing the Philippines in our current year 2024, and of course, how agricultural and biosystems engineers are helping to mitigate these problems through sustainable practices. Let's start. We all know that the Philippines is known for its rich biodiversity and significant agricultural sector. However, it is currently facing numerous environmental challenges. These challenges include air pollution, plastic pollution, marine pollution, and sea level rise. Agricultural and biosystems engineers play a vital role in addressing these issues and implementing sustainable practices that balance economic interests with environmental responsibility. Let's delve into these environmental issues and explore the solutions being employed. Again, just like what I said in my introduction, based on my research, here are the top four major environmental issues in the Philippines this current year, 2024. I just want to let everyone know that this is just the top four, okay? It's not just limited to this. There's still a lot of environmental issues out there. But we have here number one. Number one is the air pollution. Second in line is plastic pollution. Third in line is marine pollution. And the last that we're going to talk about today is sea level rise. Okay, let's start. Air pollution. Well, how does air pollution happen? This results from vehicle emissions, industrial activities, and agricultural burning impacting human health and contributing to climate change. Did you know that according to the World Health Organization, the country records an annual mean of 24 micrograms per cubic meter for fine particulate matter, significantly surpassing the recommended maximum level of 5 micrograms per cubic meter. Imagine 24 versus 5, which is the standard. It's almost like 4 or 5 times higher than the recommended level. And our bad practices is bound to further exacerbate air quality in the long run. That's just too bad for us and too sad for our future generations. Imagine. Next in line, we do have here plastic pollution. Single use plastics and inadequate waste management lead to plastic waste accumulation in landfills, waterways, and oceans, harming wildlife and ecosystems. Evident by the World Bank's use of the word staggering to describe the situation in the Philippines, an insufficient waste management system coupled with a high dependence on single use plastics set the scene for country's annual generation of 2.7 million tons of plastic waste. Listen to this, 2.7 million tons. I'm actually guilty of this because I myself, I'm fond of using disposable plastics for eating. But these estimates show that the country loses around 819 million US dollars, not pesos, to unrecycled plastic products. However, despite the considerable scale of plastic pollution in the Philippines, Philippine residents of the country and some companies have been at the forefront of recycling efforts. Not a lot of Filipinos are very much aware, and not a lot of people and Filipinos are willing to compromise just so that they can save the environment. Take a look at that picture. A lot of people are shouting to please protect our environment because those are being polluted by just the single use plastics. We could just use reusable silverwares or anything just so that we can prevent destroying our nature, right? Third is we also have marine pollution. Well, oil spills, agricultural runoff, waste discharge degrade coastal and marine ecosystems, which definitely affects coral reefs and marine biodiversity. Considering that the country generates over 2 million tons of plastic waste every year, The World Bank reports that an estimated 20% of this waste ends up in the sea. Foreign Affairs Undersecretary cited reports that there would be more plastics than fishes by 2050. And imagine, it's not just too long. Starting from now, it's just around like 26 years, if I'm not mistaken, from this year. Well, oceans would have been overheated and acidified if people failed to act right now. For this reason, marine pollution also endangers biodiversity in the Philippines. There's also this issue wherein a dead whale is found in the Philippines that was discovered to have 40 kilograms of plastics in his stomach. And that might be the reason why, of course, he died. Imagine how vulnerable our aquaculture or aquamarine species are. How vulnerable they are if we continue to just throw and throw away plastics, throw and throw away a lot of like toxins that will definitely kill them. And they cannot do anything about it. That's their habitat, but we are destroying it. Last environmental issue that we have here is sea level rise. Sea level rise is driven by climate change. It definitely poses a severe threat to this archipelagic nation, causing coastal erosion, saltwater intrusion, and increased flooding. Floods have been recurrent in the Philippines, most especially last 2022, 2 years from now. Imagine, on that year, Christmas Day alone, that specific day, erratic rains triggered devastating flooding in northern Mindanao and the Visayas region that killed at least 51 people. A lot of lives has been wasted just because we don't discipline ourselves. If we won't start to help our environment right now, we will no longer have an earth to live on as years passes by. And that's just devastating to think about. Well, as an aspiring agricultural and biosystems engineer in the future, uh, we need to employ various sustainable practices to mitigate these environmental issues. And of course, let's explore how they tackle each of them. Of course, to combat air pollution, our AB engineers find way to make sure that we practice. We practice a lot of conservation of agriculture, wherein it reduces the need for burning crop residues to conservation tillage and no-till farming practices. Well, its economic benefits will be to lower labor and fuel costs. It will also improve soil health. The benefits of it in our environment would be reducing air pollution from burning and enhances soil carbon sequestration. Aside from conserving agriculture or conservation of agriculture, by those methods, we can also use renewable energy integration, wherein we can use solar, wind, and biogas in agricultural operations to reduce reliance on fossil fuels. Of course, our economy will benefit on it by lowering long-term energy costs, and our environment will benefit by reducing greenhouse gas emissions and will definitely improve air quality. Next is that, of course, our agricultural and biosystems engineers would address plastic solution or plastic pollution by biodegradable packaging. Developing and promoting biodegradable materials for packaging agricultural products, not just agricultural products. A lot of products that we have, we can use biodegradable packaging. It will help our economy to have access eco-conscious markets, reducing waste management costs. And our environment will decrease plastic waste accumulation and pollution. We can also have waste management programs, and implementing this waste segregation, recycling, composting programs in agricultural communities is a great help in our environment. Our economy will have reduced disposal costs. It will create new economic opportunities for people who needs work, who needs job, who needs to earn something through recycling. Of course, definitely, and that's for sure that our environment will minimize plastic waste and promote sustainable waste management if we practice all those things that our agricultural and biosystem engineers try to study just so that it could be something that will help our society. Next in line is how can we combat marine pollution? So our agricultural and biosystems engineers try to go ahead and have integrated pest management, wherein they minimize pesticide and fertilizer use through IPM techniques to reduce agricultural runoff. Well, it is a smart approach to deal with unwanted critters in your garden, your farm, or even your home. It's not just about reaching for the strongest pesticide. Instead, it focuses on several methods to keep pest populations under control in an eco friendly way. Aside from that, we do also have here buffer zones and riparian strips. So, why do our AP engineers think about this? If we establish vegetative buffer zones along waterways to fill runoff, buffer zones and riparian strips are both areas designed to protect a specific environment, but they differ slightly in location and function. Well, if we talk about buffer zones, it is a general term for vegetated areas separating two different ecosystems, just like here in the pictures. Take a look. They act as a transition zone, reducing the impact of one ecosystem on the other. Some examples include strips of vegetation planted around wildlife, sanctuaries to minimize human disturbance, or green roofs and buildings to insulate them and manage rainwater runoff. Oh, if you talk about riparian strips, if it is specifically referring to vegetated areas next to bodies of water like rivers, streams, or lakes. Their main purpose is to protect the water quality by filtering runoff from the surrounding land. They also provide habitat for aquatic and terrestrial species. It consists of sometimes trees, shrubs, other native plants with deep root systems that help stabilize and prevent economic erosion. Well, one of the economic benefits of this is that it improves the water quality of agricultural use. It will enhance biodiversity, and of course, for environmental benefits, so it will definitely reduce a lot of marine pollution if this is what we should do. So, our last environmental issues are being addressed and helped by AB engineers through what? Agroforestry and mangrove restoration. If we implement agroforestry systems in restoring mangroves to protect coastlines, they are two powerful tools for environmental rehabilitation. Agroforestry integrates trees and crops in the same land. Trees planted by AB engineers can provide shade and wind protection for crops, reducing water needs and erosion. Of course, mangrove restorations involves replanting salt-tolerant trees along coastlines. These restored mangroves act as a natural barriers against storms and floods, while also filtering pollutants and providing vital habitats for marine life. Well, we can benefit from it. Our economy can benefit from it by providing additional sources of income through forest products and improved coastal resilience. Our environment can also be enhanced by its coastal protection, sequesters carbon, and supports biodiversity. Definitely, to adapt to sea level rise, we must also have sustainable aquaculture. If we adopt sustainable aquacultural practices, resilient to changing sea levels and environmental conditions can happen. It will definitely ensure the long term viability of aquaculture's operations and supports the livelihoods of the people. It will also reduce the pressure on wild fish stocks and protect the coastal ecosystems. Well, how do we balance economic interest with environmental responsibility? We all know that some of the people, just so that they can earn money, they try to compromise what's there in our nature. But one thing that we can do is have cost benefit analysis, evaluate economic returns and sustainable practices versus their environmental impacts. Let's try to have stakeholder engagement. Let's collaborate with those people, the farmers, the communities, policymakers, NGOs, just so that we can ensure we have support to implement sustainable practices. We should also educate and train ourselves with skills to farmers and agricultural workers so that they can adopt, maintain, and make sure that they'll have sustainable practices. And definitely, us, AB engineers, must do researches and innovations. If we develop new technologies and methods to enhance sustainability, economic efficiency in agriculture will happen, and that's for sure. Well, to sum up, The Philippines faces significant environmental challenges, including air pollution, plastic pollution, marine pollution, and sea level rise. Agricultural and biosystems engineers definitely play a crucial role in addressing these issues through sustainable practices, and it will mitigate climate change and promote environmental responsibility. If we optimize the use of our resources, if we enhance the soil and water management, if we integrate renewable energies, the professionals will help create a more sustainable and resilient agricultural sector. It will ensure that economic development does not come at the expense of environment. Well, that was it for my presentation for today. I hope you were able to learn something, and definitely I would be glad to answer some of your questions if there's any. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.